Hello, RWorld, and welcome back to another episode of RWorldTalk. We are super lucky, as I always say, to have our guest this morning, but we happen to be in the presence of Realtor royalty. We have Kerri Hartnett with us this morning. Kerri is the National President for the Women's Council of Realtors. We are so excited to have you. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, we're really happy that you are here. Just found out that you are a third-generation realtor, and another thing that I found out today is that although you are hailing from Oregon at the moment, you were born at Holy Cross Hospital right down in Broward County and originally from Tamarack.
It's true. I was there for the first 13 years of my life. Very, very formative years.
Okay. Well, we got a Florida girl now.
Yeah, it's true.
So third generation realtor. That's pretty incredible. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your family and why the realtor brand is heavily in your family tree?
So my grandfather, actually, he practiced for 18 years in Deerfield Beach. So,
okay.
Yeah, so he was here. And then my mom actually got, and so I had an early influence there, but I was so young, I didn't really know.
Right.
My mom actually got her license in 1992 when I was graduating high school. So I didn't really have that deep knowledge of it. Like some people really grow up with it, where it was sort of on the periphery for me.
Right.
I got licensed about 20 years ago. In fact, 20 years next month. Yes, 20 years next month. And I just got to a point where I was in the hospitality industry and I was like, I can't do this. I have a 4-year-old at home. I need to be able to take care of him and not be out until all hours of the day. And so I got into real estate. And additionally, my father was a practicing realtor. My brother is currently a practicing realtor. So the realtor brand is very, very, very significant in my life.
Okay.
It's literally provided our livelihood for the last 3 generations. I mean, like you can't really take that for granted, honestly.
That's
so it's
right into you.
It really is. Even though I wasn't in it in my formative years, it's always been a part of my life. So it's super important. And as I heard earlier this week, actually, with the panel that we had earlier this week, it is my duty and my responsibility to be involved in this industry and as a realtor.
It really should be all of ours, and I hope that people take that to heart. Funny, because you just mentioned a couple of things. I'm like, 1992, you graduated high school. I'm like, oh, so did I. I've been in business for almost 20 years.
Yep.
Oh, so did I. We're early running on the same treadmill here. So let's talk about WCR. Obviously, that's got to have obviously driving some of your passion, but WCR's mission is to advance women as business leaders in the industry and in the communities that we serve.
Correct.
Thank you for all of your service. Obviously, that has been something that's been ongoing. Otherwise, you wouldn't be the national WCR president.
Yep.
But taking a deep dive into that mission statement, why is it so important? And what are some detailed ways that you achieve all?
So another fun fact, which also pertains to this question, I don't know if you knew this, but my mother was also a past national president in 2006.
Okay.
So this is a legacy leadership for the council and for the industry. Not, obviously we have some father daughters, father sons over at the NAR world, but this is pretty important. And I think that it's real. Women empowering women, women advancing women. It's really important to have that cheerleader, that group, that band, if you will, that brings you forward, because there's a lot of things that tear us down, and we're probably our biggest critics when it comes to advancing ourselves. So we need that support system, to just kind of get us past that like self-doubt, if you will.
Okay.
I will tell you that in my journey with Women's Council, and I was saying this earlier, when I first came back from my first conference, I was super excited, and my leadership team at the time was like, you got to talk about that. I'm like, not me. I am not talking in front of those people. So I had to have a friend sit in front of me. I was able to do it. And now, 20 years later, but it didn't take 20 years. I can get up in front of a group of strangers and sing karaoke like no one's business. I can get up in front of a group of 600 people and talk, and I have no problem doing it. And it's really just building that confidence.
Right.
And just that you can do this kind of mentality.
And you absolutely can do this.
I absolutely can do this.
Yeah. And I have seen WCR's mission. I mean, when you see somebody get involved with WCR and then you see them come out the backside of the first year, then the second year, and you're like, my goodness, you guys are really crafting exceptional leaders. And one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is that when you're involved with WCR, on the association side or on the MLS side, there's a lot of staff that takes care lot of the day-to-day duties and all the things that you're trying to do. And they help you with the getting sponsors. They help you with every single aspect of creating an event and booking the caterers. You guys do all of that stuff completely on your own. You don't have groups of staff that are taking care of this stuff for you behind the scenes, so that way you can go and operate your businesses. Yeah. You are literally leaning on each other, giving each other tasks. The committee is putting that work together, dividing it up amongst everybody who is involved and saying, this is our goal. This is what we need to accomplish. This is how I see us getting through to, that end point. And now let's all get out there and, pull up our socks and go and do the work.
Yeah, it's really incredible. It really is. It really is. And it really truly does build teamwork and helps you work through differences of personalities and styles and things like that. And as we know, in both in leadership and in our businesses, like we're going to be dealing with different personalities, and we're going to be dealing with different teams every time we go.
Sometimes multiple personalities.
Multiple personalities, right? So it really is incredible what our members do. I'm so proud of them.
Yeah, they're doing a fantastic job. And with you at the helm, I think that they've got a lot of inspiration and a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, thank you.
I know very well that as president of an association, organization that has a 1-year term, which you do as well, there are so many goals. There's so many things that you want to implement in your year. What is one goal that you wish to achieve this year that is going to leave WCR better off, or maybe something that you've already achieved?
So we have, we put together, and this isn't a theme year by any means, it's a team year always, but we do have a few presidential priorities that came from my heart. And the one that I'm probably the most passionate about is sustainability. And what I mean by sustainability is, yes, the sustainability of this amazing planet that we live on, because without it, we wouldn't have to worry about people or anything.
Right.
But also the sustainability of your mental and your physical health, the sustainability of your business, the sustainability of the networks and the work that we do in our communities. Like, it's just so important to me. Sustainability is such a word that people just kind of throw around, but I truly want to make sure that our organization, which is 85 years young, has at least another 85 years, so that the next generation of realtors and the following generation of realtors can have this space to come to.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that you had touched on sustainability of your mental and physical health, because I think that through the pandemic, a lot of people's mental health suffered, and they're still struggling to come back.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that also through the pandemic, a lot of people let their physical health go.
Oh, yeah.
And now that it's all behind us.
Goodness.
Yeah. Thank goodness. Yeah, now that it's all behind us, I think it is important. And I love that you guys are working on making sure that your members are mentally happy and healthy, and physically healthy as well, because the same way that WCR has been around for 85 years, we want our members to make it through 85 years as well. Absolutely. And that comes with good physical and mental health.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Great initiatives. I saw that WCR offers the PMN designation. Mm-hmm. I don't think that a lot of people know what PMN is. So why don't you tell us what it is and why it's beneficial?
Okay, so PMN is our Performance Management Network designation. And it's kind of it's similar. No, it's not similar to anything. There's a lot of different competencies that are part of it. Education, obviously, is a big proponent. That's what Women's Council does very well. So we have a couple different tracks. One was it's like just business focused, and one is leadership focused. So if you're not really, even though we're all leaders in our business, if you're not wanting to be that association leader, and you just really want to focus on your business, you can go towards that track. So it's a combination of education that builds either leadership or business skills. I took it so long ago. So what I ended up taking was referrals and networking, which is still one of our classes today. I'm a master referral and networker, so I think it did pretty well.
Which is probably one of the most important things you could do for your own business as a realtor. Is
absolutely.
To be great at referrals and networking.
Right, absolutely. So that was the first one. I also took... is like the business of your business, I think is what it was. So it was more business planning. So getting really focused on how to actually plan, right? And as when I came into the industry, I was literally a bartender before, so I didn't have any business planning skills, so I needed them. Networking, I had that down. And then the other one that I took, which I believe is still something that we count, is the At Home with Diversity. It was counted towards that credit for education. Right. Currently, we're using the NAR's initiative for the ABR designation as credit towards your PMN. So if someone was interested in taking, or not, just take you could take the class, and NAR is offering it for free, but this is now being offered as a credit towards completion of that designation. Additionally, there was some referrals and things like that because I was kind of going up that. It was different when I took it, but I got points for certain referrals that I did. If it was a client referral, I got certain points. If it was a realtor referral, I got certain points. If it was a women's council referral, I got even more points. So it's like working towards this sort of holistic approach of how to be a holistic leader, a holistic real estate professional.
So to our people who are listening now, ABR, being able to get that for free, I don't understand why somebody who is a realtor would not take a free designation course that typically costs a few $100.
Yeah.
Now NAR is offering it for free.
For free.
And when all of your competitors are walking around with their ABR designation and touting that when they're going out now in this new world, getting buyer brokerage agreements signed, why wouldn't you want to have the ABR designation?
Oh, absolutely. And I never had it before.
I didn't either. I got it this year.
Yeah, it wasn't anything that was on my radar until this year. And I was like, well, I'm going to get it because why not? Because I think in this market, when you sharpen your skills, that's where it's going to keep you sustaining into the future.
ABRs refer business to other ABRs because you are now part of the network. And so you're talking about networking, referrals?
Yeah, absolutely. And the performance management network's the same thing. I get more referrals because I'm that designation, because they know I have competencies that someone who doesn't have that, it's just a little bit more layer of excellence, if you will.
Yeah, and it shows other realtor members that are in the know that you've actually taken the time to sort of, sharpen your skills, and they know that you're ready to get the job done for their buyers when they want to send buyers your way.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. Guys, take the ABR course.
Definitely, absolutely.
So as you're traveling, obviously a lot of travel with WCR. Actually, before we get into WCR travel, why don't you tell us a little bit of the backstory on why WCR? How did you get involved with WCR?
Well, my mom. So when I became a realtor, so my mom was president in 2006. I became a realtor in July of 2004, and there was a regional conference in Portland, which is where I was living. And I hadn't even had my license yet, actually. I took the test, but back then you didn't get your test results right away, so I had to wait a whole week. And I went to the regional, I took the class. But at that point, I was 30, and I thought it was probably a good time to start listening to my mother because she knew what she was doing.
It took you till 30.
Yeah. She'd been in the business for quite some time, over 10 years. I was like, she knows what she's doing. So she was like, join this company and join Women's Council, and you'll be just fine. And so I did. And so my parents lived in Idaho. I live in Oregon. So it was different markets. So she was like, go to the network, go to the meetings. I did. They immediately, because of my last name, they pulled me into serving on the board. And then from there, I met some of the most incredible people, both inside my local network, but then when I got to the point to go to the national meetings, which I did right away, I met some of my best friends from across the country.
Awesome.
And that's sort of the secret sauce of Women's Council. It's, yes, the networking referrals are great, and we have great, our numbers are usually higher than the average realtor as far as income, but the camaraderie, the relationships, my bestest friends from across the country, which I never would have met without Women's Council. And it really, truly has shaped me as a good human and a great leader. I think about all the time my leadership last year, 2 years ago. I was a different leader. I was a different person. And it's every step of the way that Women's Council has put in front of me has shaped me to who I am today. And I have done things on the association side. I was association president in 2017, but because of Women's Council, because they saw like, oh, this girl knows what she's doing.
She can get stuff done.
She can get stuff done. And so it's all because of Women's Council.
Well, it's amazing how you could build camaraderie when you've got a whole room full of cheerleaders that are behind you, and everybody's like constantly boosting you up. Because I've noticed that from going to WCR meetings myself, you guys get together and make sure that like everybody shines.
Yeah.
It's not about any one person in that room. It's about every single person in that room.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, actually. It really is. It's not it's not common that you see that in a room full of
competitors. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So as you're traveling around, meeting realtors, obviously from across the country with your current role that you have now, what are some things that you are hearing these days? Are people, are our realtor members seeming optimistic about what's going on? Are people anxious? I'm sure you're going to say that it's a mix. But what's the tone on a national scale? Is there anything that you think that's worth sharing?
I think there's definitely some fears out there for a lot of different reasons and some frustrations because people are, change is hard. It's just hard.
Nobody likes when you move the cheese.
No one likes when you move the cheese, right? Or the sun. Not in Florida, of course. Right. That's always here. But I think there's some fear. There's some hope out there. I think that our team, the leadership team, and I and our new CEO that we hired last year, we have been very intentional about making sure that we're talking about how you can sustain your business and putting things in place to where we are going to deliver on that promise to make you a great leader, a wonderful business person, someone who has the skills that can pay the bills, basically.
Right.
So that's really our intention. And as long as our message is that of a positive, which it always should be, and, yes, we're not Pollyanna, we're not saying that nothing's wrong. We're facing it like we're doing this to help you because we know the changes are coming.
Right.
So optimistic, a little bit of both.
So I'm going to throw you a surprise question.
Okay.
And this is going to be really controversial one. This is what everybody is talking about right now. So last year we had some WCR major investor pins. They had magnets on them that were so strong you could not get them off your shirt.
This one
and
hopefully it doesn't fall off.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, everybody was like, "My God, these magnets are so strong that I went to put the thing on my jacket, and the little blue jewel actually popped off."
Oh my goodness!
Because the magnet was so strong.
Where'd they get
them? I don't know, but now this year we've got these magnets that the magnet is so weak.
I know. I didn't realize they were so strong last year.
So I've got a secret for everybody because we know that we love our pins. We've got tons and tons of pins. Just take the magnet off a different pin and use it on this new WCR diamond.
Really good trick.
I know,
never
right?
Thought about that before.
Yeah, life hack. Yeah, everybody gets their life hacks here on RWorldTalk. So as volunteer leaders, we all know that saying no sometimes has to be in your vocabulary in order to safeguard our mental health and livelihood. But what are some things that you've said yes to that ended up changing your path?
We'll see if it changes my path. I think it will, but I said yes to something recently, which I'm very excited about.
Okay.
I got I got an invitation to come speak on a panel at the CELA conference, which I couldn't. You probably know what CELA is. It's not something that was on my radar until really last year, but it's in Ecuador. And I never thought that was on my bucket list.
Awesome.
Apparently it is. So I'm really looking forward to that. I have not really stepped into that international space too much because here in Florida, you'd probably get a ton of international business. Not as much in Oregon, especially not as much at the Oregon coast. We get a lot of international travelers,
right? But
not people that are really that are moving there. So I'm hoping that'll be a really interesting shift in my direction because I've always been interested in the international space and kind of I love people. So I'm hoping. I said yes.
Very exciting.
Yes. And it was one of those things where I was like, oh my gosh, there's this thing going on and there's this thing going on and this. I said yes to this. So I have to maybe say no to some of these other things, which also hurts a little. But I'm very excited about that opportunity and what that might bring.
So I'll tell you, the people of Ecuador are amazing, lovely, lovely people.
Can't wait.
That is going to be really cool. CELA is a huge conference.
Yes.
I mean, that is a lot of people.
Yes.
Not to get you worked up.
Oh, I'm fine.
Hey, you already said that you could do anything.
I can do anything.
You could do anything. So
I just don't know Spanish very well, so I know there's definitely going to have to be a translator.
That's not your problem. That's their problem.
And you know what? I actually here's where it shifted my life. I'm learning Spanish right now at the age of 49. I'm learning Spanish.
Okay.
And there's more that I knew than I thought I did. So
fantastic. Okay, right on. So heading out to CELA, you said that's your first time that you're going to be traveling to South America?
Yeah. I've literally only been to Europe, and it was 2 years ago. Unless you count Canada when they didn't ask for passports. It was there too. So I think that counts.
Okay.
Yeah, this will be fun. I travel a lot, but not out of the country.
So what's the panel about? What are you going to be speaking on?
I'm assuming it's empowering women. I'm there as the president for Women's Council of Realtors, and there's other women that are on the panel. And I think it's about they are very intrigued with what Women's Council offers, and I think that they're having me speak about more of that.
Yeah, well, I do know that in South America they shouldn't say envy, but they really want to know a lot more about the way that we do things.
Yes.
And I think that people around the world believe that the way that we do things here in the United States is the way to do it when it comes to buying, selling, transacting real estate. I do know from speaking to presidents down in South America that wanted to borrow our training programs, mirror the things that we have going on here, want access to a lot of not only just our educational resources, but a lot of our best practices.
Yeah.
So certainly having you go down there and speak to the power of WCR, I think is going to be something that they really need, want, and are going to love to share with their members. I'm excited that you get that opportunity to go and do that. Very cool.
I'm excited.
So I do know that you I do know that you are also a very busy lady, and we've got Bonnie Sierra up in Palm Beach, who is going to be coming down to pick you up shortly. So I'm going to ask you one last question.
Okay.
That we ask of all of our guests here on RWorldTalk. Florida has very many hidden gems. So whether it's a restaurant, beach, hotel, anything worth checking out. I don't know how much time you've spent down here since you were 13 years old, but you have been here for more than 24 hours. I know that for a fact. So why don't you tell us if there's a little hidden gem that you have found?
I don't think it's hidden, but the universe was conspiring yesterday to get me to the elbow room. So I made it to the elbow room last night.
I'm so happy.
Give your fun story quickly. I left here when I was 13 years old, and I I remember, driving up and down the beach strip, whatever that is, and being like, I gotta go there when I'm old enough. Right. So of course it was always in my head. And Lorianne and I had breakfast yesterday, and I was like, okay, there's a spot. I think it might be there. And she's like, the elbow room. Of course it's still there. And then everything that day we turned into like, we need to go to the elbow room.
When we were speaking yesterday, I had said you absolutely have to go to the elbow room because the Stanley Cup was there.
Right, but it wasn't quite as overwhelming as that would have been the night before.
Okay.
But it was still like, okay, I can check that off my bucket list.
Yeah,
so
it's always a fun time.
I wouldn't say hidden gem, but it was kind of fun for me to kind of finally check that off my list.
Yeah.
After so many years.
We've got to be on like episodes somewhere between like 65 and 70 right now. And I used to ask people, restaurant, beach, hotel, dive bar. Nobody would fess up and say like a
dive bar.
Oh, so I think you're our first guest that actually like called out a dive bar. Yeah, fruit flies and all. I mean, let's go. Elbow room. Okay.
We were outside. So that was a good place for us to be here, out on the patio.
Well, it's a little too early for a cocktail now, but next time you are in town, let's go to the elbow room.
Yeah,
I'll buy you a beer.
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Kerri, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your time and your wisdom. And we will see all of you guys right back here next time on RWorldTalk.